Hey guys, it's ANicWin, also known as Amy, and happy Monday. I hope you're having a lovely day. This is a tier 2 tiny home in Windenburg. It's a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom home, but I am imagining a family of 4 to live here. I'm thinking it's a young couple with their twin toddlers. So there is the 1 bedroom. It's tiny. It's like a 3 by 2.5 because I do have an angled wall, and there is the bathroom door inside the toddler bathroom. So there's a compromise on wall space. It is what it is. Of course, if you don't want to play this with a family, you can get rid of the toddler things and make that an office. This really would be a great starter space for like a single sim or even a couple who just aren't ready for kids yet or don't have many. I would not recommend playing with more than 4 people in this home. It will get really chaotic and clogged real fast. But I decided to play in Windenburg. I was still feeling kind of sickly when I built this. You can still hear some of the remnants in my voice, I'm sure. But I built this right after I did the apartment that you saw last week. I was starting to feel a little bit clearer mentally, and I wanted to build something that was going to be a little bit self-indulgent. I really love, sorry if you can hear that. There's like a car going down the street there. But I really love Windenburg, and I really love tiny, tiny homes. Not like micro homes, but I like making smaller spaces. I'm not really a huge fan of the bigger builds. I find them really overwhelming to clutter and make realistic sometimes, so I just prefer the smaller ones. And so I sat down, I built this. I didn't use a reference image. I just kind of had an idea of who I wanted to live here and what style I wanted to go for, and I went with it. Excuse me, water break. Don't worry, that's not going to be a habit. That's going to be developed for future videos. This is just while I sound like this. So yeah, I really like the way that this turned out. It did take me a couple of days to do. Normally a small home like this might take me anywhere from 2 to 3 hours, and I think this actually took me 6 hours over a span of 2 days. And mostly that's because I redid the living space twice. So that one was on me, but it just wasn't working the way that I wanted it to work with the windows. And part of it was, even though I was feeling better, I still wasn't thinking super, super clearly. So it took me a little bit longer to kind of plan and orient and figure out what I wanted where and what was going to be the best use of space. So I don't really know why you needed to know that, but apparently you did. So let's move on. As per usual, I am using this plant that I can never remember the name of until I talk about how I can't remember the name of it. Hostas. Hostas. I am using hostas in this world. I do associate those with my grandma. I've talked about that before, but really I just associate it with Windenburg because I just feel like in my soul that this is where this plant belongs. I think it belongs more so here than it does in Brindleton Bay. That's purely me. That's some sort of like arbitrary rule and association I've made up in my head. It's totally fine if you disagree, totally fine if you don't understand. But that's just kind of what determines how I decorate and where. So that's really what we were working with. I do cover the entire fence except for that one little back piece with this. The hedging, it is from the Windenburg or Get Together catalog. I forget how much I like this one. And it's very similar to a base game one. It might actually be exactly the same, but it sizes down so nicely. And I forget it exists, and then I use it, and I'm like, why? Why do I forget about you every single time? Who knows? I also used a mixture of those white birch trees. I think those are what those are. I really just like the white bark. As you can see in the background, they're everywhere, so it didn't feel too random. Some of them are in the debug menu with Get Together. Some of them just came straight from Cats and Dogs. I did try to use debug plants where I could, but I also didn't prioritize it. It was just a little bit faster if I could copy and paste. So if you wanted to download it, go in and replace a few plants, you would save probably a few thousand simoleons. It would probably make it a starter home. But like I said, I wanted this to kind of be easy for me to sit down and put out. So that's my excuse. It's not a great one, I know. But I am thinking that this couple, I don't think they're living on a off the grid sort of situation. And I don't necessarily think that they want like a simple lifestyle, but they do have a bee box excuse me, they have a bee box because they like fertilize your plants. They're really good for gardening, and I do give them some gardening plots as well as that little tiny wooden box because I thought maybe the toddlers like dug around in that one and that was theirs to play with. That was my thinking at least. But I do give them some gardening plots, and I think no, I don't give them that. I was going to give them either an animal shed, which does fit on the lot technically, or like a chicken coop. I didn't do either one because they were a little bit overwhelming, and I felt like every single small-ish, cottage-ish type build I do, I throw in a chicken coop, and like, not everyone has chickens. I wouldn't. I'm terrified of birds though, so that's just me. I am more than happy to buy my eggs at the grocery store or from a local farmer. I don't want to be involved in the process at any point of the process. That's not for me. It's just not for me, man. But so we did the gardening plots on this side, and we're doing a lot of landscaping. I do include this rabbit stump, although it ends up being not here. I found a lot of debug items in the cottage living menu that I had forgotten about that just felt really appropriate here, and I really love that you can mix Windenburg with Hinford on Bagley. That sparks all the joy for me. It just makes me happy because it doesn't really matter what world you're in, it's gonna feel like it's at home, if that's even fair to say. I don't know. I do include a little picnic basket, and eventually it's going to go on top of the rabbit stump. I don't know if you can use it or grab it. You might have to drag it into your Sims inventory, but it does place freely. And as you may have noticed, I did just swap out the trees. This one here in the back was just a little bit too wide. It was kind of blocking the front of the home. It didn't look great. My field of vision was a little bit distracted, I guess is the word I'm going to use. So I did swap out those trees. Even though the other one's taller, it's not as bulky. That's all I can offer you by way of explanation. I was going to include this swing set. It ends up going to, for some reason, and this could have just been me, it looks so big compared to the house. Like, it looks way too big. And I hated it. It looked like it was taking up half the home. So I was like, okay, maybe it just doesn't need to go on the side. Maybe it's the landscaping. So I swapped some things there. And I'm kind of reassessing. I'm like, okay, maybe it goes over here under the tree. It just looked too big. So I got rid of it. They only have toddlers anyway. They can't use the swing set. So I keep this little slide in the front. And that's pretty much it for the exterior. I throw some lights around, and that's their yard. It's pretty simple. I think it's kind of cute, obviously. And yeah, I was really pleased with the outcome. Now, this porch that we're getting ready to decorate is really small. I was never intending for it to be super usable as far as space goes, but I do include a bench. There are some plants. I forgot the mailbox was right there. There are some plants and just a rug. So if you wanted to sit out here, you can, but it's not a space that your sim is really going to hang out on. And also, I did not move the tree back at the end of the voiceover. I did it before I uploaded it to the gallery, but don't worry, I do fix that. So as we jump in, I start with the bathroom immediately. All of this gets shifted. I don't shift it on camera because I made a decision at the end to move where the door is. So all of the elements stay, things just change a little bit. As you can see, I used 2 of those robes. I sized them down to look like toddler robes, and they're like in the pink, that's not pink, the purple and the green color, and it just, I don't know, that kind of made me squeal a little bit with cute aggression, and so I left it. There is only one adult robe, but it's fine. Maybe dad doesn't have one, or maybe mom doesn't use one. I don't know. I don't know. And then we jump straight into the toddler's room. Now, I did fight with the curtains quite a bit, more than I expected to. They just don't like to clip to the get-together windows for some reason. I don't really know what's up with that, but I throw in 2 twin bed or toddler beds here. I use that lighter wood tone. Even though most of the house is the darker wood tone, I liked it. It made it feel a little bit more bright and youthful and cozy all at the same time. And then I kind of decided that we were going to go for a little bit of a natural theme, but it wasn't going to be overly mountains or anything like that. So I grabbed this shelf with the mountains on it, and I placed the nightlight right above it to kind of make it look like the moon was up in the mountains. That was the thought process, at least. I do use those handmade wall sculptures from Eco Lifestyle, and that lamp from, I think it's Outdoor Retreat that we got that one for. So there's just a few elements of like woods and nature and outdoorsy. I just thought maybe that was their theme. You know how people theme nurseries and things like that. I thought maybe that was the theme for when they were babies, and it's just carried on, because you wouldn't necessarily redecorate for toddlers. Maybe you would. I'm not a parent, so I can't say that with certainty. And then I found this decal. I knew it existed. It's the mountain one. And it actually ends up going on this wall right here. So I do have to shift things around for the door, but it stays, and the hot air balloon one stays as well. And that's pretty much their room. I do give them a couple of teddy bears on the bed. I didn't have any issues with routing, but if that blocks your sim, of course you can change that. And then we jump into the kitchen. I need a quick sip of water. So sorry. But we jump into the kitchen. I do decide to hang a hanging plant right above the sink. My sink kept disappearing. Every time I deleted the wall or edited that wall at all, it kept going away. So that was fun. I don't know what that glitch was, but we made it past. And I decided to go with kind of like a country themed kit. So this is the country kitchen kit counters and cabinets mixed with the parenthood. The parenthood counters, I always mix those two. I just don't think there's enough variety in either one, to be honest. They both have elements that they're lacking. And I just sort of add plants everywhere. I think they're really in tune with nature. Plus, I just like to decorate with plants. It's a thing. But I'm adding some stuff up on top of the refrigerator as well. I'm just trying to make it look really full and really lived in, and like they're utilizing all of their space. Now don't worry, there will be countertops for them to eat on. I actually use island countertops because I don't give them a kitchen table. There was room for it at first, and then I completely changed the layout and there was no more room. So we'd use the island. The kids or the toddlers aren't going to sit in high chairs anyway, so I don't place them. I give them the little, what do you call that? The range? Is the range the part that you cook on top of? And the other one's the oven. I separate them from the Dream Home Decorator kit. Again, I don't always do that, but I do like having the ability to do that because I feel like it gives me flexibility. I gave them a fireplace because I imagine this place is probably kind of cold in the winter time. Could just be me, but this looks like the kind of place that gets kind of chilly. And I gave them a single chair by the fireplace. Technically, they can sit on the little footstool as well, but I actually place a tea set from Cottage Living on it instead. I use it as a side table. But if you move that, they'll be able to sit there. So that's technically 2 chairs in the living space, although this one is not facing the TV. This one's really just, I'm sitting by the fire, maybe I'm reading, maybe I'm playing with my child. It's just a place to chill. It's not really meant to be like the living room per se, which I know is weird because that's where the fireplace is. Then we work on what is the master bedroom. Technically, it's pretty simple. I bring in some more plant elements. There's a lot of natural wood, neutrals, browns. It's just the vibe, right? It's just what I felt like was appropriate. And then I do place that painting, but I actually switch it to the green or blue, whatever color you see. I switch it to that swatch, and I'm really happy with that because I felt like that fit in more so than the pink. The pink was just a little too bright after everything else. And then this is just kind of going to be the last bit of the build. It's going to have a TV. There will be a couch, or it's really a love seat at the end of the bed. So this is quote unquote the living room area. It's also the entryway, and it's also a dresser area for one of the Sims. So it's like a triple threat. But on that note, I'm going to leave you guys here to enjoy the rest of the video. As always, feel free to leave a like or a comment down below letting me know what you think. You can also subscribe if that's something that would spark joy for you. I will be posting the screenshots on Instagram if you want to head over there and check those out. In the meantime, I will see you on Monday with my next video, and I hope you have a lovely week and a lovely rest of your day. Bye, guys.
Young ones come crushing down. They wanna feel the sun. Don't know what's in and out. They thought they seen the light. When you're closing in, you know you're done. Thought you knew all the